The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys Storylines with Nick Eatman.
Happy Friday. It is time for another edition of Cowboys Storyline. It is September the 15th. I don't always know the date, but I know this one. It is my mom's birthday. So happy birthday to my mother, Camille, who is a listener of this show every single day. So she's listening. So I don't want to say how old she is, Larry Allen, but she is. She definitely watches the show, and she's excited for this. And so happy birthday to her, Tyler Smith, but don't want to say how old she is. Speaking of Tyler Smith, he is one of the guys of the storyline here, the injuries that we're going to be monitoring all weekend. My gut feeling doesn't look good for him to play this game. He's the one that I think has a chance to probably be doubtful on the list. Brandon Cooks, that's going to be close. I know there's a lot of people that said MCL. It's been reported MCL, which is typically 2 to 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that it's that serious. I think he has a shot to play in this game. We'll see what he does practice-wise tomorrow. It's going to probably come right down to it. Probably the smart thing to do would be sit him maybe for 1 week, but he's trying to play. So Brandon Cooks, I don't think, is completely out for this game at all. Donovan Wilson and Jordan Lewis, both those guys have a good chance to play. It sounds like Jordan Lewis is going to play because he's not even on the injury report. So that's the big storyline there from the Cowboys as they get ready for the Giants. I know you guys have a lot of things to say. We got the call. We got the phone lines open, 888-855-2297. You can also text 817-290-3298. We will go right to the phone lines, though. Let's get this thing started. Kurt in Arkansas. Kurt.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Big fan of the show. Oh, I'm great. I'll tell you how old I am. I was a year old when they played the first Super Bowl.
Okay. All right. So that's yeah. You're not that much old. I mean, not much older than me. So, what do you got for me?
Oh, well, I think the Cowboys are going to win 30-13.
Okay. Why so dominant?
And you say Dono's going to play?
I think he has a chance. He was limited in practice. Has a shot. They're not going to be rushing it back, but has a chance. But if not,
it'd be good if he could play.
Yeah, well,
he's a good part of that defense.
Yeah, he definitely is. I will say this, though. I mean, Wanye Thomas and Marquise Bell are going to play the way that they're playing. That's kind of what you're expecting out of Donovan Wilson. So I'm sure Donovan would be better, but they are. It's not a huge drop-off right now.
All right. I know. I've been watching.
All right.
They're a good team.
Yeah. The Cowboys
I think they're going all the way this year.
All right. Well, you heard it right here. You heard it 31st. From Kurt, because people are saying it, but I appreciate the call there. Let's go to Joe in Stamford. Joe, what's up?
Hey, morning, brother. Sorry I missed you yesterday. It was my anniversary. I had to go pick up some flowers and stuff.
Fair. I mean, yeah, good. That's good excuse there. Some guy from Merkel called, though. He said he was going to represent the area. So
I heard. I listen to the show every day at work afterwards, yeah. We used to play them Badgers. That we whooped their butt whenever I played them. So I hope he's listening today too.
Yeah.
So, few things. First, my fantasy defense. So I drafted the Cowboys fantasy D in the 4th round, and generally you don't draft a defense that early.
No.
I got made fun of a little bit, but they're not making fun of me now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You probably won your game because of that. Yeah.
Yeah. The most points I've ever got off the defense.
What was it, by the way? I was just curious. What was it? How many points is that? 35, 40?
34.
34?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
All leagues are different. I know somebody told me the other day they got 18 points out of the Cowboys defense. I was like, what is that? Like, that's not even worth doing. Like, 18.
Yeah, that's
shutout.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder what league
I don't even know. That's not a lot at all. So
no,
not for a shutout, not for 2 touchdowns, not for all the turnovers. So
yeah, well, that sounds like a ripoff to me.
Yeah, but I just know all leagues are different. But still, yeah, that's huge. And it's not always going to be that way. You know that, but still, I mean, it was the sacks and the turnovers are something you can count on, and just probably not a lot of points scored on them.
Yeah, I think they're consistently going to be one of the better defenses for fantasy all year. I'm super thrilled to have them. And you know what? It wouldn't matter if they weren't. They're my Cowboys. I like repping them regardless. So,
Yep.
I think I'm a little worried about this Jets quarterback. I know that sounds a little counter to what everybody else has been talking about, but generally, whenever everybody is so positive that somebody's going to suck so bad, then we usually are surprised.
Yeah.
Of course, we set the bar sort of low, but last year we had a ton of trouble with running quarterbacks. I remember even quarterbacks we never heard of, like the guy from Houston. All these guys were running all over us, gave us all sorts of trouble. I think DQ probably has going to do a better job of scheming against that this year. I'm hoping. But we'll see on that.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Joe. And you're right. These running quarterbacks have been a problem. And one of the reasons that I think you're seeing them draft Overshown, obviously the injury will ends his season, but they're going to use guys like Marquise Bell in that role. Wanye Thomas will be closer to the line of scrimmage. Donovan Wilson, when he comes back, will be closer to the line of scrimmage. I think that's going to help with that kind of stuff. Now, if teams want to run the ball right down your throat, they want to get a guard into that second level and block, these undersized linebackers, then that could be an issue too. I mean, you always give up something to get something else. So in this case, I do think it'll help with the running quarterbacks. I think those guys can help cover tight ends, but there's also the element of them running the ball right at you, and the Jets can do that with these two running backs. So it's going to be a chess match. For sure. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. David in Fort Worth. David, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, sir? How you doing today?
I'm good. You?
I'm great. Hey, I just want to say I appreciate you taking my call every day, man. It really is like the highlight of my morning to be able to get on here with you guys. So
I appreciate you calling every day. It's the highlight of my morning. Honestly, I mean, it really is. This is my favorite 45 minutes of the day. I love talking to you guys. I look up and I'm like, oh, it's always halfway through the show, and I hate that. So I love interacting with you guys, and I don't care if it's the same people. I mean, really, I like mixing it up. I like hearing from new voices, but I also like the people that call every day, because that means you guys understand what we're talking about, what we said yesterday, what we said the day before, and kind of know what the narrative is. So I'm good with either way. Dave, what you got?
Yes, sir. Quick question. A couple years ago, maybe even more than a couple years ago, I think it was on the break, and I think Derek was talking about it, Mr. Eagleton, about
it's
Fan
Derek.
Friday.
You can go with Derek.
Yeah.
I'm
it was
kidding.
gotcha. Yeah. It was like a Fan Friday or something like that, where y'all brought a fan in one time. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not sure whether that was shelved forever or something like that, but I think this show would be perfect for it. Maybe during a bye week when there's not a whole lot of storylines. So just throwing that out there. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Yes. I have an answer to that. But yeah, if you have a question, we'll go with that. Then I'll answer that in a second.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, actually, after that, if it feels okay, I just wanted to throw out a score prediction and then a crazy prediction.
Okay.
Because score prediction, I think it's going to be 31-10, but I actually think it's going to be kind of close at half. I think people are going to be freaking out about the offense still and stuff. And I don't know why, but I think that they're going to have a second half more of an explosion. And then my crazy prediction, I think Gallup's going to have a really big game. I think he's going to have 2 touchdowns.
Okay.
And my wife, my beautiful wife, Jessica, who listens to the replay, wanted me to give a crazy prediction. She thinks that the defense is going to get another defensive touchdown today. It's going to be a strip sack fumble. So I appreciate it. And
right.
I appreciate you taking my call, sir.
All right. Well, hope Jessica is right about that. And Gallup, yeah, that would be big if Gallup had a nice game. Fan Friday. I mean, really though, it's fan every day here. I mean, and that's kind of the difference of this show is we really, I don't have a lot of these people to talk to, so it's you guys. One of the things though we're working on though, you see this screen here, behind me here, you'll see that we're gonna get something working here where you guys will be able to send in 10 to 15 second clip, just asking the question, just like you do now, just asking a question. You get to see your face up there, get to see your name. We're working on that where you guys will be able to do that. That'll also be a fun part of the show, especially I'm going to start that off with the people, these regulars that are calling in all the time. Let's see their face, if they're worth looking at. I'm kidding, because if that was the case, I wouldn't be on here. So, all right, good stuff. Let's go to the phone line. Cosmo in Syracuse, New York. Cosmo.
Hey, how you doing? I have two questions for you.
All right.
First is, who is going to take over after Jerry calls it a career at GM? Do you think it's more Steven or Will? Okay. And also, Are you guys going to do more deep blues, instead of just preseason?
All right. Well, thanks for the call. I can answer one of those better than the other, so I'll start with that one. The deep blues we do those every year. That's when they air live on our local affiliate CBS. That they air before the preseason game, so that's typically when we put them out. We don't stagger them. We've talked about that in the past, but really this is kind of the plan for that. This is our we've done 9 seasons of Deep Blue, so this year coming up here, season 10, we're gonna try to make it epic. I mean, it's gonna the storylines that we're gonna be using for this year, and we haven't even finalized them yet, but they are. They have to be at a different level than what we've seen before. So we're really going to put a lot more emphasis on that. But I don't see any changes as far as when they're going to be coming out for that. I don't have an answer on the GM. I mean, I'm Steven. Everything has been for Steven. So I mean, that's what I would imagine when that ever happens. That looks like the line that it would be. All right, let's go to the lines again. I'm looking for any text lines, but I don't see one yet, so we'll stay in with the phone lines. Tim in Grapevine. Tim, what's up?
Nick, how you doing, sir? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you. I'm doing great.
Hey, my man, I need you guys to get Rocket Sanders healthy for the A&M game in a couple weeks. I need y'all to beat A&M, all right? So,
yes, that will be. I'm not saying that is the plan. That's always the plan. But there's a lot of people that listen to this show. Some of them could be A&M fans, so I am going to leave it at that. But yes, I hope they win that game this year and every year.
So I think this Jets game is actually a sneaky game for the Cowboys. The Jets defense, they look stout. I know they don't have Rodgers, which is really disappointing. I wanted to see what we could do against him. But I still think the Jets are well coached. You know, special teams, they got that playmaker, Gibson. He's from the Dallas area. Anyways, I just think it's a sneaky game. No Brandon Cooks. And I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts on offense? I mean, I feel like this is a chance for McCarthy to kind of showcase himself as a play caller against a good defense. So what are your thoughts? What are your expectations this week?
I like that. All right, Tim. I like that. I mean, you're right. This is a good showcase for McCarthy and for everybody, for Dak, for this, just not the new faces, but just this new offense. This is what it is, and let's see what it's going to be like. Because if you go back, even back when it was, the 49ers and the West Coast offense and all that, well, they, how do you stop the short passing game, that sort of called a finesse offense is what it was also called back in the day. Well, teams like the Giants in the 80s, the Bears, the Cowboys there later in the 90s. I mean, that's how you combat an offense like that, is to be physical and make sure there's absolutely no way that you could run the ball on us like that and just turn it into a fist fight. And so that's what I think the Jets tried to play. They played that way. So that's why this is going to be kind of different from a style. We always say styles make fights. They say that in boxing all the time. These are two different styles. So it is going to be interesting to see exactly how McCarthy calls the plays and how the Cowboys are able to execute with that. All right. Let's go to the text line here. We do have some text questions coming in. This is from Richard in Ohio. What do we need to do to keep Dak protected this week? against a good defensive front. How many sacks does Micah get? So we're flipping from both sides there. We'll start on the other side. How do they keep him protected? I mean, you've got to. I think for them, for the Jets, it starts kind of on the inside. They like to do that inside out thing. I think Zach Martin should be fine. He's on the injury report with a groin. He said it though the other day on the radio 105.3 The Fan. He does a weekly segment there on Thursdays. He says that the Cowboys are just kind of taking care of him. He's going to be fine. So expect him to play. The other guard spot though, I don't see Tyler Smith being able to do a lot in practice this week. That means he probably won't play, but I'm not going to rule him out. The Cowboys get to do that. Not doing that, but I do think the inside front is going to be really, really big, really important for the Cowboys to keep Dak upright. Also, how many sacks does Micah get? Probably 1 to 2. So I think 1.5 would be a good number there. I could see him getting one. I mean, it's hard to think that in the whole game, the way he rushes, that he's not going to get a sack. That's a 17 sack average for the season. That would be what that is. And I think that's probably something that he'll be around. I see him being in that range this year, especially the biggest thing that happened was that Dorrance Armstrong and Osa and those guys and Fowler got 4 pressures. Those guys right there, because if they keep doing that, Tank got a sack. They keep showing you that if you want to block Micah this way, these other guys are going to also eat. So you got to figure it out. And I think because of that, it'll just keep going back and forth with different game plans. And I do think Micah's going to have a lot more sacks this season. All right, let's go to the phone line again. Chris in Indy. What's up, Chris? Actually, I skipped the guy. So Chris in Indy. Is I got Chris or I got Jonathan? Jonathan. Sorry, Jonathan. Jonathan, Big Springs. I missed you. I blame Chris
yes.
Beam.
Yeah, I would too. This is my first time calling in your show. Love the show.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Chris is playing with his toys back there. All right.
Uh-oh.
Thanks for calling in, Jonathan. What's up, man?
I know I had high hopes for the season, but right now, the offensive line get banged up. Tight end's not catching. Hope the offense can keep up with their defense. Their defense will do good. But I believe the Cowboys win this game 30-3.
Okay. Well, I'll say this. I mean, that's your opinion, and that's fine. I mean, I don't think the offense doesn't have to keep up with the defense. I mean, they're not playing each other. So, I mean, if the defense is way better, that's fine. Offense just has to be, just play complementary football and kind of play into the fact that you have this great defense. I'm not as worried about the offense. I don't think you are either, Jonathan. 30-3. I don't think you're that concerned about it. You get 30 points on the Jets. I mean, I don't think that last year. I looked at this quickly. I think the Jets only gave up 30 points one time last year, and they actually won the game. But for the most part, they were not giving up a lot of points. So 30 points is a lot.
Yeah, it's mostly on defense. I think we get a lot of sacks and fumbles and stuff like that with our defense. I'm real high on our defense.
Yeah, and everybody
the offensive line going down.
Yeah,
offensive line is right now is getting hurt, and it's like wow.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how they patch it up. You don't think we heard a whole lot from Chuma Edoga the other day, which is a good thing. He played well at guard. And Zach Martin, I wouldn't say he's not really on. I mean, he's on the injury report. I think he's going to play. Tyron Smith is on the injury report. He's practiced in full this week. So it's not as bad as it looks. You just look at the injury report, you see your three starters there. That's not great, but I think they're going to be okay this week, and they're going to be relatively healthy, other than Tyler Smith. And I know I'm sounding like I'm ruling him out. I'm not. I just feel like he's probably, because he hasn't done a lot. And Mike McCarthy said this morning on the radio, he said that if there was a practice today, that he would be with the rehab group. So probably not going to practice until maybe tomorrow, if that. All right, now we're going to go to Chris in Indy on the phone line. Chris, what's up?
What's up, Nick? How you doing, man?
Great. You?
Great, man. Great. I can't wait till Monday. I think the Cowboys fans, some of them's going to freak out, because I think this is going to be an ugly game. It's going to be like 17-3, 20-6. And even though against the Giants, I think the offense scored 5 of 7 possessions, put up 27 or 28, they were still complaining what's wrong with the offense. And after we win like 17-3, 20-6, something like that, it's going to be an ugly game. The Jets defense is for real. The fans are just going to, what's wrong with McCarthy calling plays? And
Yeah.
So,
yep. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm sorry, man. The Jets defense, they're like the 49ers defense. And, of course, everybody's seen the last couple of years how our offense hasn't been really, moving the ball and doing a whole lot against the 49ers defense. And they're like a splitting image of the they don't have Nick Bosa, of course.
Right. Right. Well, this is a different offense, obviously, and this is because of those games. Thanks for the call, Chris. Because of those games against the 49ers. I mean, if you lose, your season ends to one team 2 years in a row, you've got to figure out ways to change that. Think about that. Go back to the 90s if you can, or the people that do remember that. The Packers were losing to the Cowboys every year in the playoffs. 92, I think, 93, 94, 95. They had to keep getting better, figure out a way to get better than the Cowboys. The 49ers, the same thing. They lost to the Cowboys a couple of times. They had to go get Deion and Ken Norton to beat them. Then the Cowboys lose to the 49ers. They got to get Deion back to beat them. So you're figuring out ways to beat the team that's knocking you out of the playoffs. And I think that's what the Cowboys tried to do. They're not as physical. They weren't as physical in some of those games. They tried to they play the same way. They run Zeke up the middle. Our bigs versus your bigs. And that didn't work. So now they're changing it up a little bit. Now they're gonna try to combat that with speed. They're gonna do some things on the edges. They're gonna play this game differently. And the Jets, I think, will be a good test for that. So because they're not exactly like the 49ers defense, but they're going to be a pretty close and a good test here in week 2. We're going to go to break real quick. When we do, we're going to come back. We got callers on the line. We got more text messages. We'll be right back here on Cowboys Storyline.
Fall is here, and that means football is back, bringing all the delicious game day foods with it. As you prep for all the big games, tailgates, and watch parties, let Yo Quiero be your one-stop destination for all things home gating. Yo Quiero's fresh, flavorful, ready-to-serve guacamole, made with real Hass avocados, will score taste bud touchdowns as you cheer on the Cowboys. Yo Quiero's wide range of mouth-watering and versatile products can be found in your local grocery store's produce or deli section. Grab some today.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
SeatGeek has your back no matter what kind of Cowboys fan you are. So whether you're a diehard fan or a don't really care fan, a we got 'em next time fan or we'll never win again fan, a here for the tailgate fan or a first one through the gates fan, SeatGeek not only makes buying and selling tickets easier than ever before, they made just about everything else easier too. So whether you're a here every week fan or haven't been here in years fan, SeatGeek has you covered. Download the SeatGeek app today. SeatGeek, your ticket to great Dallas Cowboys seats.
How's Wingstop sound? Crispy, juicy, classic wings. Made to order, cooked to perfection. And sauced and tossed in those 11 soul-satisfying flavors. Paired with hand-cut seasoned fries, house-made honey mustard, blue cheese, or signature Wingstop ranch. And, of course, spicy Cajun fried corn. I think you've heard enough. Get your flavor delivered at wingstop.com.
Back to Cowboys Storylines.
888-855-2297. That is the number to call if you want to get in here for the last, we got about 20 minutes here on Cowboys Storyline. We get to go to 10:45 today. On Friday, it's September the 15th, a couple days before the Cowboys take it on the New York Jets. Let's go back to the calls. Chris in Mississippi. Chris, what is up?
How you doing there?
I'm doing great. And you?
I'm doing great myself. And I wanted to tell you, first thing is you can't blame anything on Chris. This is a no blame any guy named Chris day. Second thing is, how about I called you earlier and I asked about Lyle Collins, and how about the intuition that was just like weird that I called and asked you about it.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, he's on the market.
I know.
And I have this to say about that. I didn't say anything about him earlier to wonder about him being a tackle, because where was he best at when he was at the Cowboys? He was not best as a tackle. He was best when he was on the inside. And where do we need help? The inside. I know the man's coming off an injury, probably why he got let go.
Yeah.
But the other thing I want to say is that Jerry Jones needs to come up with a sponsor from a chill pill. The offense scored 27 points last week, people, just because they didn't throw the ball all over the place like everybody wants them to do, and they're not flashy like everybody wants them to do, doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with them. And I would love to ask all you people that want to kill the tight ends for dropping a wet football in a driving rain to go out there and do the same thing. And, I mean, I just think that this is just crazy. Like, it's just absolute craziness. And I knew it watching the game. I was like, oh, people are going to be saying that our offense is not good. People are going to be saying that we're never going to win anything and blah, 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 blah. But, I mean, they're not taking into context of what's actually going on.
Yeah. All right, Chris, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'll say this, though. Like, we like to throw that out there a lot, the people and, callers or fans or, just in general. But we haven't really had that on this show. I mean, I give you guys credit for that. I mean, most of the people, there's been some concern about the offense, but not to the point of anything, irrational. I mean, I think for the most part, everyone kind of understands what it was. I mean, we haven't had any calls or texts or anything about the tight ends. I mean, it is what it is. Nobody's asking those guys to be Kelsey. They're not. That this team isn't going to be great because of their tight ends. I think that one of those guys might develop into a player like that, and if that happens, that's great. I mean, if Ferguson develops into the player that Schultz was, but maybe a little bit more of a blocker as well, a little bit more dynamic down the field, great. And that's 65 catches, and a guy that had 9 touchdowns, last year, and so that would be outstanding. So I don't think anyone's really doing that. Yes, I'm sure you guys on your Twitter and all that stuff, I'm sure you guys hear that kind of stuff. But for the people that call in and stuff here, it really hasn't been that way, and that's good. As for Lyle Collins, I just don't know what happened in Cincinnati. I know that they can't block anyone, so for them to let him go, that means there's probably a little bit more than football. I'm not sure what his situation would be. And I just don't think the Cowboys are looking to make that move right now. I think that they want to go with the young guys as much as they can. If they're forced into something because of an injury, a long-term injury, then they might change their tune. But right now, I don't think that they're going to go down that route. All right, let's go to San Antonio for the phone line for Paul.
Hey, Nick. How you doing? Love the show.
Thanks, man.
I just heard you talking about the tackles, and that was exactly kind of my question.
Okay.
Thoughts on keeping Adoga at guard and Tyler back to tackle and having Tyron as the reserve, like, swing tackle role. So I'll hang up and keep up the great work. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Here's why that's not going to happen. And you're just thinking to help the football team the best way. But you also got to remember the contract that was renegotiated for Tyron Smith. It's like he makes $1 million every game he plays, and so he can make up to 15 to 16 million, but it could be 4 to 5 if he doesn't play a whole lot. I don't think the reserve role is what they had in mind with that. I don't think that's not in good faith for what they set this thing up to be. And to be honest with you, I think Tyron Smith is still a better left tackle than Chuma Edoga would be at left guard. I mean, Tyron and Tyler, when they're healthy, I think is better than Tyler and Chuma Edoga. And even if it costs you a lot more money to do that, but I think that's the plan there. And so I don't think the Cowboys are looking to change that out right now. All right, I got another text question here from Steve Williams from Charlotte, North Carolina. The question is, do you think the scheme plan against the Jets would be outside runs, bending the corner, getting to the edge? So that's sort of something we have talked about here this whole show, about how to make this thing go, horizontal if you can. I mean, play an east-west game at times. Everyone, eventually you got to get north to do something, but I think the Cowboys can use some speed on the outside. I just don't think Tony Pollard up the middle against this front, or any running back for that matter up the middle, is going to be what they have to do to get it done. But they have to do it at times. Your play action doesn't work if you don't run it up the middle. You are going to have to do it at times. You got to show the willingness to do it, but I think you also have to be smart about it as well. All right. G in New Jersey. G, what is up?
Nick, man, sorry I missed you and Beam last week over here in Jersey, man.
Yeah, we went out.
I know, man. I know. But listen, it was 4th and goal at home, so I had to crunch it down with the wife. You know what I mean? And I missed Beam's message, man. But I got you guys next year for sure.
4th and goal at home. That might be the best line of the day. 4th and goal at home.
Listen.
Hey,
you've been there. You've been there.
That's But, boy, there's so many things
listen,
together.
man,
I'll stay off. Okay.
I pulled back-to-back nights at MetLife. I was there on Monday night, and that air, it was much like when the Cowboys at halftime on Sunday night, where the Giants fans they were absolutely numb, and when Rodgers got hurt right away, the air left the stadium. But this Jets team is built to win right now. And they beat a team that is also built to win right now. So I just think that this is an awesome opportunity for the Cowboys to beat one of the upper echelon teams in the NFL, minus the quarterback, right? And build up to that Week 5 matchup against San Francisco. I don't want to get too ahead, but if they put up good numbers against this defense, that shows a good trajectory for our team down the stretch. But I have a question for you, Nick.
Okay.
This Jets defensive front has 9 guys that they are just going to rotate, and they're going to go nonstop against our offensive line. And then I also think that on the opposite side, they are going to run the ball about 30 times a game. I think the Cowboys' key to this game is to keep the Jets defense on the field and just wear them out by time of possession. What side, offensive line or defensive line for us, concerns you the most in this game? Thank you, Nick, and I'll let you go.
All right. Well, it's got to be the Cowboys' offensive line versus the defensive line. That's to me where you've got you've got an All-Pro on that other side there in Quinnen Williams, but like you said, they do have a lot of depth there. They've been bad for a long time. They draft high picks. I mean, that's what it is. I mean the league is designed for you eventually to get better, and that's kind of how it works. And I think the Jets are at that point. They've got some a steady flow of really good players over there. So I think that is a little bit more of the concern from that side, especially with the Cowboys having a little bit of injuries on the offensive line. They have to stop the run though. There's no doubt they have to stop the run because the Jets don't want it to be 3rd and 12 all day long for Zach Wilson. They don't want that. They want to run. They want to keep him off balance. They want to probably throw some screens. Watch for that. Watch for the screens. Dalvin Cook has been a guy that's been really good at that when he was with Minnesota, and Breece Hall can do that as well. That's another good way to offset that pass rush that the Cowboys have and the blitzes that they like to throw out there. So you can throw it over their head, over the top, and then the next thing you know, you got these running backs in space. So it'll be fun to watch for sure. But I think if there's one side of the ball that you would be a little bit more worried about, it would be Cowboys' offensive line. All right, Kent in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Kent, what is up?
Hey, Nick, how you doing this morning?
Great. How are you?
I'm good, man. You're going to be in trouble with your mom.
Nah.
Wish her a happy birthday.
Happy birthday. So you can't be in trouble with my mom for happy birthday. Just naming off some of my favorite players of all time. So.
Yeah, there was just one common factor there. I think your mom might pick up on that. Hey, so how worried should we be?
Now, if I would have said Mackenzie Bernardo, or Joe Looney, then she would have been like, whoa. But I didn't do that. I just said Larry Allen's my favorite player. All right. What's up, man?
So how worried should we be with Zach Martin on the injury report at this point?
I don't think that worried. It sounded like because he was able to like I said a little bit earlier, got on the radio and said that I think the Cowboys are just kind of taking care of me a little bit. I'll be fine. So I wouldn't be too worried about that.
Yeah. I hope you're right. I mean, because he looked amazing last week.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he dominated that battle with Williams on that defensive line from the Giants. I want to see it again.
Sure.
Sunday. If they can control it now, on the other flip side there, if our defense can control the run game and just keep it in check, they're not going to stop those guys. They're going to get some yardage. But if they can at least just not let them dominate, hold them in check, and force them to throw the ball a little bit, I think we can maybe stretch the lead a little bit and force them to throw, and then let the guys on that defensive line eat.
Yeah, I go ahead, Kent.
And I was going to say, so I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen. And going on that assumption, I'll say we win it, 24-10.
4-10. Okay. That's close to the score that I have as well, which I'll throw that out at the end. Thanks for the call, Ken. And I also I think one thing that needs to be considered about the Cowboys' run defense, especially this year, is that Gilmore and Diggs can change a lot. Because I'm not saying that they're just shut down, lockdown players, but they can cover well enough to drop a safety down and into the box a little bit. And Deron Bland as well. You want to go 3 wide. You've got 3 cornerbacks that you feel comfortable with. So you can commit a little bit more to stopping the run, playing a little closer to the line of scrimmage and doing that because you're not as worried. Are they going to get beat sometimes? Sure. Gilmore will get beat. Diggs will get beat. It'll happen. But on a consistent basis, no, not really. We didn't see that at training camp when they got good receivers on the other side for the Cowboys. And so I think that is ultimately going to help the Cowboys' run defense as well because they have the cornerbacks that can cover for just a second or two longer, and that is a huge difference when you're talking about pass rush. All right, the phone line has Cowboy Mo, the truck driver. He's in Oklahoma as we speak. Cowboy Mo, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, Nick? Love your show.
I'm good.
You're very knowledgeable.
Thank you. I got a question for you.
Sure.
Do you hate it, or does this still happen? Because this is a thing when I was a kid. When you're driving and you got the kids in the back. They do the honk horn sign. Do people still do that?
I love when kids do that.
They still do it.
So they do. And some truck drivers don't do it because there's someone sleeping in the back.
Okay.
But I always pull my horn for the kids.
Okay.
Now if you're an adult, because we have a city horn as well. If you're an adult and you do it, I give you the city horn.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good to know.
All right.
Good to know. What's up, Cowboy Mo?
All right. So last year, Dak threw a lot of interceptions. Do you think that it had to do anything with his injury that he went out with? Because before he didn't throw that many.
Yep.
And then also on the defensive side, we've always had issues stopping the run. How do you feel about this year? Because the Giants ran that whole that first drive on us, and then after that, I think they got away from it because we took over the game. And so, how do you feel about our run stop this week and going forward?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Probably should have taken the call before that point because that's kind of what I was saying about the Cowboys' run defense. I think the cornerbacks are going to help a lot with that. First game of the season, you're trying to see what the Giants are doing. They're trying to see what you're doing. They have some plays scripted. It was working for them, and the Cowboys kind of shut it down. I thought the false start penalty on 3rd and 2 on the first drive changed the entire game because that false start penalty turned it into 3rd and 7. Now you definitely are going to throw, and then they know that, and now the center, 6 hops it back there to Daniel Jones, and they lose 15 yards, and then they kick a field goal, which is blocked, and score a touchdown. I mean, you don't get a false start in 3rd and 2, they probably convert that, and if they don't, they might go for it on 4th down. So the percentage is high that they get that and probably score a touchdown. That could change the entire game. So I thought that false start penalty and what was happening on that false start, that guy on the left tackle over there, Andrew Thomas, he's trying to stop Micah Parsons. That's the kind of stuff that happens in a game like that, where Micah Parsons makes a difference that you don't even see on the stat sheet. You won't see that at all, that the false start penalty happened because a guy is trying to block Micah Parsons. But he's an X factor to the highest degree. He makes some huge plays there. Dak's interceptions, because of his injury, a little bit. Mainly because if you remember, some of the ones, not the ones that were volleyballed up in the air, not those. I'm talking about the ones over the middle. That happened a lot, and like at the end of half, I thought the way he was trying to, just the way he was trying to kind of work with CD there at times, and I think being out for a little bit, they're trying to get on the same page. Sometimes in that 2-minute offense as well, that's where a lot of that happened. So that's certainly a factor here. Sorry, I saw a little bit of these clips of this Eagles-Vikings game that's being shown on NFL Network, and I didn't see anything from last night. I was doing some high school football games I was at, but I didn't see any of this play. But that looked like a touchdown on Jefferson. I guess they called it back, but I can't believe they didn't call a touchdown. It looked like he crossed the line here, and since I have the Kirk Cousins as my quarterback, I'm still kind of mad about that. All right, we got another caller here from Claus in Denmark. Claus.
Yes.
What's up?
Hi, Nick. I'm amazed you pick up the phone. I didn't expect that.
Well, you know what? If you call from Denmark, we're going to answer. What's up, Claus?
Oh, that's great. I have a ton of questions for you, but one of them is, in Denmark we play a lot of soccer and handball and not much football, and we don't. Well, now they have started to review the plays. They got VAR and they got other stuff, and I think it's ruining the game. What's your take on all the reviews? I know the catch was a catch with Bryant and stuff like that, but I think a part of these big games are also the referees. They make the games legendary. You know what I mean? Because of bad judgment from the judges.
Okay.
I know we can lose a game and because of a bad referee, but we can also win a game because of a bad referee.
Right.
And those games where the referees they do bad work. I mean, they become kind of legendary, and it's part of the game, and it's part of, because even though we look through the plays again, they still get the wrong call.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It happens.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Claus. Thanks for the call there. Thanks for the support too. I always appreciate you guys from that are out of the country, and I know it's a lot more difficult. But thank you for the call. I think what you're saying is the review. He doesn't really thinks the review is slowing the game down, and sometimes they have bad calls, sometimes they have good calls. I think more often than not, though, people would want the review. They want it to be right. I hear it in the press box like that was a catch. They called it a catch, and then you look at it and you're like, well, his feet weren't in bounds. And even if you wanted it to be a catch, you look at it and you're like, well, he didn't. That's just the way it is. I think for the most part, people just want it to be right. They're doing some things in other ways to try to speed up the game. And another thing that they're doing, and the NFL is doing this, which is as long as everyone knows that it's happening, it doesn't get as frustrated. But the NFL, they got people that are watching the game in New York. They're looking at this stuff before it even goes to a review. How many times have you seen that where they call it a catch on the field, but it wasn't a catch? And before you even throw the flag, they get together and suddenly just decide that, you know what, it wasn't a catch. That's why they have earpieces in. That's because people are talking to them. And so then you don't have to throw a flag. You don't have to challenge something that you should have seen anyway. So they're already kind of doing that. And I don't have a problem with the review. I think for the most part, they get it right. There's only 47 camera angles in each game. And out of those, they get it right. So I don't think it's slowing the game down too bad. And most people, to me, want to get it right. All right, let's go to probably our last caller here, Nick in Austin. Nick, what's up?
Hey, I made it in.
You made it.
Yeah, I've been trying to call all show pretty much, but I sent a text, but I was like, well, I'll try one more time to call in. But I wanted to give a shout out to your mom, Camille, for her birthday. Happy birthday!
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I won't say her name, her age either. There we are. But I was just curious if you thought that we should sit some of these injured guys. Even if it's just another week. Because I think we did. I mean, they got away from the run, like everybody's been saying, but we started to, figure out what they were doing and started to short up, later in the game. And, another week could go a long way, to them so they don't re-injure or make it worse. And then I just want to say my prediction is going to be 28-10 because I think our defenses are both really good, so I'm going to just say a wash on that. And then I think our offense is much better than theirs with Dak, and he just has control of our offense versus Dak Wilson. So that's pretty much all I have to say.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Nick. You're the last caller of the day, last caller of the week. I think the injured guys will come down to, are they healthy? Are they healthy? Are they ready to play? And like you said, can they hurt themselves even more? That's the situation. I think that's going to be the case with Tyler Smith. I think, when you're dealing with a hamstring injury, he probably could play. But if he gets re-injured there, now you're looking at maybe 4 to 6 weeks injuries there. So I think that's probably going to be the deciding factor. Some of the other guys might be closer to playing. I think we could see that. All right, a lot of scores coming in. I'll throw mine out there. I think the Cowboys win this game 24-13, and we do have a question that everyone will be asking throughout the show here on the pods for pod picks. First touchdown catch of the year. We don't have that yet. We don't have a touchdown catch. Who catches the first one? I'm going to go with Kevontae Turpin. I think he will catch the first touchdown of the season, maybe something there around the goal line. All right. For Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. It's been a fun week for you guys calling in, texting in. You guys were great. Let's see what happens on this game on Sunday, and we'll talk about it, chat about it on Monday on Cowboys Storyline. We'll see you then.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?